YM3 live from Atlanta with NBA champion, gold medalist, Mr. Derrick White, newest member of the YM3 family. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to this. It's gonna be fun.
To give a little context, Derrick at various points throughout the year is going to pop on, do some stuff with his teammates, guys around the league, maybe some guys from different sports. We're going to figure out, depending on basically what he feels like, where we're going to go. I want to get to, there's a lot to talk about, I feel like, with you guys right now, but you didn't come on with JJ and I during the playoffs for obvious reasons because you were a little busy. So you technically have not been on this show since you guys won the championship. And I think we should start there. Just your initial thoughts now with a little time about the whole perspective, about the whole run.
It was just, I think, just being so locked in on that one moment, and just being so close for basically my entire time here in Boston, and finally getting over the hump, winning that last game, have the confetti, winning at home, and just being able to celebrate with my family, my friends, and the team. It was just a great team all year long. I think that's just what made it so special, is that we had just such great chemistry the whole year. We got along on the court, we got along off the court, and those are just the type of memories that you'll keep forever.
From the outside looking in, I guess for, media fans, whatever it is, at one point y'all won 9 straight playoff games. That hadn't been done since the Warriors in 2017. It just looks smooth, and obviously some of the teams you played got hurt and stuff like that. But even in Dallas, they were, basically 100%, and you guys were just smooth the whole way. Were you surprised at all at kind of how smooth it felt?
I think that just kind of showed the growth that we had, because the last 2 playoffs that we were in, like, we had opportunities to end series early, or like to put a game away, and we just didn't do it. And so just showing that growth. And I think in the moment, you're not really thinking about, we won 9 straight. Like, you're just one game at a time. And we had that mindset pretty much the whole year. Like, we competed at a high level every game, and it was at the biggest stage. We just continued to do what we've been working on this entire year.
Yeah, in the Pacers series, we when we did the 2K app with Jason in July afterwards, we were talking about the game 3, in particular, where he just kind of went crazy at the end. But it felt like that series was kind of like a microcosm a little bit for the whole run of. Y'all just it was like he wasn't scoring, he wasn't shooting well the whole time. Everyone was having sort of like different in and out stretches, but you kind of just figured it out every time. Was that something that you felt like fell into place in real time, or was it like by the time you got to the playoffs, you were like, we're gonna do this. Somebody needs to knock us off course.
Yeah, by the time we got to the playoffs, we were all pretty confident, and we just knew that we could win in so many different ways. Like, everybody always talks about our shooting and stuff. Like, obviously we can win games like that, but even in games like that where we aren't shooting well, or one or 2 guys might be struggling, like, we have people that'll step up and just make the right read, make the big play. And so, the whole playoffs, JT and JB, they were our leaders, and they kind of made the right read, made the right play every time, and everybody else just kind of did what we had to do. And so when you have the top guys that are willing to do what they need to do on both sides of the basketball, everybody else just kind of falls in line, and we got a lot of highly competitive people that we get after it.
A lot of guys, a lot of psychos, a lot of guys who were ready. He said, this is, pre-Olympics, but he was just saying, the words he used was like at peace when you were talking about the confetti, about finally being there. You've had a different, we've gone into it, on the show and in private, obviously, about your journey, which is about as unique as it gets, I would say, to be where you are now. When that confetti is going down, what were your sort of specific thoughts? Does that piece fit it, or did you feel, was there a level of this chip on my shoulder has finally been lifted a little bit?
I don't think the chip ever goes away. I don't know, when the confetti's going down and I'm just kind of running around trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, and trying to find my family, and just try to celebrate with them. And then I think maybe a couple of days later, like one of my boys is like, you were a starting point guard of a championship team. Like not a lot of people can think about it. I'm like, damn, that is kind of crazy. Like I never think of it like that. But just to be a part of this team, and it's just something that you want to go to work every day. You want to spend time with them all. And I mean, obviously the celebration was just a lot of fun.
What celebration wise, and we're gonna talk about the USA celebration too, but was there anything in particular from sort of a, not even just like crazy moment, but just a moment that you're sort of, when you're looking back 20 years from now, you're gonna kind of hold higher than the rest?
And the celebration was a whole week long was fun.
Vegas?
I mean, we went to Miami. That was obviously fun. And then I had to go to the dentist.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was kind of part of it. I did a Sam Adams commercial. That was kind of part of it. And so like it was just pretty hectic the whole week after, just leading up to the parade, which was unbelievable. Like I think everybody's talked about it, but like just seeing all the fans that we had, and I mean we always get a lot of love wherever we're at, but like everybody to come to Boston and just to support us, and we're on the duck boat and my family's there with me. It was just a special time and something I'll never forget. And then we went to the Fenway, and that was just another like great time, like being in the clubhouse with them before a game and just kind of seeing how their process and how they do things. And so it's a lot of special times and great moments in that celebration.
It's a pretty crazy, there's not many better sports cities in general, but sports city, it's a city that's used to winning. So I feel like the fans know what to do, and it's an organization that's used to this. And so how long did it take you to go to the dentist afterwards? Right away?
So we won, I think, on a Monday. I went to the dentist. So then we went to Miami on Tuesday.
So your tooth was fucked up.
Yeah.
In Miami.
We flew back Wednesday, and then went to dentist Thursday. And then like later on in the day, like this tooth. So I chipped the one that was bad, but like the one next to it was like the worst one. And so I had to it was like falling out. And so I had to go back to the dentist at like 9:30 the night before the parade. And I had to like rebond it and like really like.
That was from the same getting fallen on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Derrick. I saw him on Friday in Dallas, and he said, I told him I was going to be with you. He said to apologize. And I was like,
yeah.
I feel like that's a thing he can do.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's kind of a special moment now. Like everybody in the parade was like, let me see your teeth and stuff like that. And I always look back at the pictures and like I don't smile at any of them. And so it's kind of a cool moment now. But yeah, I had like my front 4 teeth were all messed up. And I still got to go back to the dentist 2 more times. I had to get 3 root canals. Like it's been
Wait,
a
you
mess.
got 3 root canals?
Yeah, it's been a mess.
What was what about this process besides like why did it get so crazy? Like what happened that made you have to go 5 times?
So like I had to get like the regular. So I've chipped that tooth before, so I had to get the regular. I don't know what it's called, but bonding or whatever. So it looks like a normal tooth. But the one next to it, I had fractured it, and then I had fractured something in my gum on this side, and then this tooth next to it was like dead or something like that. And so
dead by coincidence or dead because of this?
I'm guessing because of it. And so really they're like, your chipped tooth is honestly like your healthiest tooth right now. So nice. It's been a long journey. I'm almost done with it, but
I just love even you just being in Miami with the tooth going crazy.
Yeah. And I was like,
it just locked it.
I shouldn't go, but you gotta enjoy the moment.
I talked about this with Jason too, but like now that you've had a year and now a summer with him as well, looking back on Jrue coming here, I think what's your perspective? What have you learned from him over the last year and a half? And what's your perspective? Like Jason was like he couldn't believe the trade happened, and it's far enough along now that like everyone has sort of gotten over that. But just like your perspective on this relationship with him, how it's changed because you guys have done a lot, in this amount of time.
Yeah. Obviously you have a lot of respect for Jrue. Every time you go against him, like every person that competes against him has a high level of respect. But for him to come to our team and just kind of not care about his numbers, not care about his stats, and just do whatever it takes to help us win. Like it speaks a lot about him, the type of person he is and the type of player he is. And Like, I mean, I've said in the past, like, he could have came in and was like, I'm Jrue Holiday. Like, this is my team. Like, I'll be the point guard. And he didn't do that one time. And he kind of just let me kind of figure it out and kind of get off to a good start. And he kind of just figured his way out. And so a lot of respect to him and just someone that's consistent every day, but doesn't care about the stats, just cares about winning. And I mean, somehow, some way, always finds a way to
Just
make the
figures it
right
out.
play, the big play. I mean, game 3, you talked about, like, gets the game-winning layup and then gets the steal. Like, I mean, even game 4, he's making big plays, and finals, he was unbelievable. So he's just always in the right place at the right time, does things a little differently, and you just know it's just in the right place.
I think I know the answer to this, but do y'all ever feel sorry for other teams that you have to? Because like I've talked about this with you two in particular. Take everyone else out of it, because I've talked about this with guys in other teams. It's like you got like demons basically chasing them around, doing what you're doing on the offensive side of the ball, and then realizing like basically in real time just what you two sort of represent to the rest of the league.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even just us two. Like, if you go down the list, like, I mean, even JB, like, JB's one of the best defenders in the league too, and he can just do so many different things with his size and physicality. And but it's just like a wave. Like, one person goes out, then the next person steps up, and so it kind of, we don't really have a drop off from guy to guy, and we all kind of guard differently.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like just throwing a different pitch at these guys. And I mean, they're stars for a reason. They're going to score. They're going to get their numbers. And so anytime you can get a little different look, I think that's important. And so, but yeah, it's not just us. Like Sam, Peyton, you checking the game for us. Like, you're expected to guard, and everybody competes at a high level.
What was the Luka Kyrie finals experience like compared to Steph, compared to those guys?
I mean, obviously, Steph went crazy against us, and just kind of, I think we were a different team, but like he just kind of like imposed his will, and we didn't really have an answer for that. Whereas like if Luka or Kyrie, they went on a run or they hit a tough shot, like we just kind of got it out and like we moved on. Like we didn't let it snowball.
Yeah.
As much as in 22 when Steph would hit a tough shot or Steph would go on one of those runs, like now we let it snowball into like a 17-5 run. Whereas this one, we're like, all right, we can get it out. Now we got to execute offensively. And so I think a lot of growth from us. And I mean, obviously Kyrie and Luka were tough to guard. 48 minutes of just locked in on the game plan, locked in on what we're trying to take away, how we can try to limit them as best we can. And everybody that checked in was 100% locked in on that. And we try to make it as difficult as we can on them.
We're going to get to Steph in a second, but do you think some of this is just obviously just finals experience, and going through that process with him and with those guys who had been there so much before. And now when you guys are coming back to this, none of this is new. And I think you guys talked about it a little bit in some of the post games during the series itself, but of just like understanding the stakes of where you're at and not letting it throw you off and allow those runs to happen because, you're overwhelmed by the moment at all.
Yeah, I mean, we had all been there before, except maybe KP. So, like, we weren't afraid of the moment, and we weren't, like, in awe. I think I remember the first finals, like, when we were recording, like, what's going on, like, taking pictures of the finals patch on the jersey. Like, all these things are just brand new, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is what I dreamed about. And then this time, I'm just like, all right, this is where we're supposed to be. This is what we're supposed to do. And so I think maybe the awe factor wasn't as big as the first time we did it. Like, you know what to expect. You understand the media before the games. Like, you understand all the questions you're going to have to answer. And so just having that previous was definitely a big, but like even like losing the conference finals and why did we lose in the conference finals? Like what little plays did we do wrong that we didn't really make those same mistakes as this last postseason.
We were talking about this before, do you have a Joe story you can share from the playoff run that you feel like we've all talked a lot about, just how brilliant he is and just how different he is, but just that you feel like sums up the experience of him on a finals run?
Probably like there's no fouls in war, which was, he said that probably in the first round, like don't be expecting anything, like we're gonna have to play through contact. We're gonna have to figure it out, and so that's probably one. Just a wrestler thinking that they're about to get submitted, and then the bell rings, and then the next round that guy gets knocked out. The two most dangerous words in English is "good job," and so like everybody was saying "good job" after we won the conference finals. So stuff like that.
They're just coming and saying it, and you just are. It's just you're just.
He like played a clip from, I don't remember what movie it was, but where he was like, it's about basically like saying "good job." He's like, maybe if I said "good job," he wouldn't have been as great as he has been. So just clips and stuff from movies, and
his cinematic knowledge is very impressive. It's like very extensive.
Yeah, he's locked in on movies. And he always finds a clip.
It's kind of like he's watching film and he's watching movies. It's like just going back and forth between those two.
Yeah, he always does a good job. It's kind of like he's motivating us, but it's not really him saying it, and like how he can kind of twist the words that they're saying and try to help us motivate it is cool.
Can you walk the audience through your process of getting the call that you were going to Paris?
Yeah, so I just put my kids down. I'm kind of just walking around. I had my basketball camp that week. And so
this is first week of July. Like this is when they're in Vegas.
Yeah. They're all in Vegas already. They had just played. I don't know, maybe they had the scrimmages or something.
They were playing Canada because I was out there for that. They were playing because Kawhi was still there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, they'd either just played Canada, they were about to play Canada.
Yeah. And so like I'm just kind of like I'd heard the talk that like if Kawhi went backed out or Kawhi couldn't go, that I might get the call. And so for a while there, I was like kind of hoping. And then like I seen Kawhi was working out, and I assumed he was fine. And so kind of moved on. And my wife and my best friend's wife had planned we both turned 30. And so they planned our 30th birthday party in Cabo. So I was preparing to go to that and packing for that. So I was going to go to the ESPYs and then to Cabo after that. So I was kind of preparing for that. And then my agent calls me and is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing, what's going on?" He's like, "Kawhi can't go, and they're wondering if you can get out there." I was like, "This is crazy." Let me talk to my wife, and we talked about it, and she said I could go. And so like it was just a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, anytime you play in the Olympics is once in a lifetime, but also like the team that was going to be there, and just trying to embrace this moment. Like I was pretty excited, but it was a big 180 of like what I was planning on doing to.
So you met them in Abu Dhabi or London or?
Yeah. So I meet them. I fly to Abu Dhabi. I meet them there. It was a long day. Like my flight got delayed, and so I had to like change flights to different things. And then I get there at like 2 a.m. and we had practice at like 9. So I just kind of like didn't really sleep because time change and everything, and just went to practice. And that was the first time I touched the ball since we won the finals.
How did the experience?
Actually, I worked out the one day before. So it was kind of like a quick, let me try to figure out this new basketball again. It was cool.
Well, I want to sort of run through some of the stuff that you guys went through there, but how did the experience from you just like specifically compared to 19 with FIBA, like immediately, how did it feel different?
I kind of joined the team late in FIBA too. Like I was on the select team.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was still kind of around, but I was on the select team and then kind of just joined them late. So that was kind of similar. But in FIBA in 19, like we were all young. Like everybody was a young guy, like just in the league, just starting their careers, trying to make a name for themselves. Whereas like this one is, everyone's pretty much established. Everyone is known. I mean, also we had legends, like we have all NBA, like we have MVPs, like we had all different kind of talents. So established stars in the NBA, and so it was just cool to kind of go there and kind of see why they're great and what makes them special.
Do you feel like your approach, just being your NBA experience since 19, shaped your approach a little bit of just being like, I don't really know if I'm going to come here to even play at all, but if I do, It's just like knowing how to like get in where you fit in, not being like, I need this amount of shots. I need this. Just being like, I'm kind of ready for whatever happens. And so you ended up playing a lot, but you didn't know that obviously when you got on the plane, how it was going to go down.
Yeah. I think in 19, like I made a team, but I was like still like trying to figure out my position in the league and like that I belonged. Whereas when I got the call this time, like I went over there thinking like, yeah, I belong to be here. And like, so I'm just going to go out there and play my game. Like I don't need to change anything. Like we have stars in the NBA and now they're playing a different role. Whereas I think with me and Jrue, we weren't really playing a different role. We were just playing the same role we play in Boston and just guard defensively and then push the tempo, catch and shoot, like make shots if you're open, like make a right play. And so it wasn't like I was trying to fit in or something. I just play the game that I wanted, that I've played most of my life and just have fun doing it.
What'd you learn about really a bunch of guys in the team, but like I was just more curious about like Bron and Steph in particular. I guess throw Kevin in there as well, but just as teammates rather than, people you just had to play against and watch your whole life.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like you see the day-to-day. You can see like the treatments. You can see the shots after practice. Like you can hear about those stories and like unless you're there on their team and obviously we're just there for a whole month together in same hotel and everything. So you can see it firsthand. That you can see what makes them special, why they've played so long, why they play at such a high level. Like when we got to our first game in Abu Dhabi, like we get to the locker room and LeBron's out here passing out towels to everybody. I'm like, this is LeBron James here doing stuff like that. And like, I know rookies that be upset, like if you ask them to do that. So just little things like that. And then like, it kind of just trickles down to the rest of the team where like at the end, like when we're giving out jerseys, like everybody's like walking around and handing jerseys to different teammates. And we had a great group, a great bond. And we just had a lot of fun on the court. And then a lot of mutual respect as well. So that was cool.
Tyrese and I talked about this when we did the episode with President Obama a couple weeks ago, but the Serbia game in particular, because I asked President, I was like, did you think they were done? He was like, yeah. He asked Ty said, yeah, after the third quarter. He's like, no. And then after the third quarter, he's like, yeah, I think we're done. At any point in that game, did you think it was a wrap?
Yeah, I think when I fouled Goodrich and he got the 4-point play, I was like, oh no, like this might be it. But then the start of the fourth, I was like, oh, we got a chance. Like we started off hot and then we got those 2 threes in that one possession. I was like, yeah, I think that's the turning point, which I don't know if you can have that in the NBA, but hitting the 3, getting the foul, and then right off it, right at inbounds, Book hits that 3. It was just amazing to watch. That quarter of basketball was unbelievable to watch, and just to see the high level competitiveness on both sides, like KD's picking up full court, like it was just great to watch, and that was greatness for sure.
It was like a perfect quarter. It was like it had to be a perfect quarter, and it was a truly perfect quarter. And it's a weird thing, I guess, like when you're a part of it, to like acknowledge that.
And like Jokic is letting the ball bounce and the clock's running. And that's the thing with FIBA is the game goes by quick. Like it's only a 10-minute quarter, not a 12-minute quarter like NBA. And they're doing everything they can to like let the clock run down. And there were so many moments where like, ooh, if they hit that shot, that might have done it for us. But just highly competitive. And then just making the right read offensively. I think like obviously Steph had an amazing game. He had big shots those last 2 games, but Bron was huge, and then like KD at the end kind of sealed it. So, and Joel was unbelievable in the entire fourth quarter as well. So, can't leave Book out. Book was by our most consistent player the entire tournament. So, just fun to watch that lineup. I remember in the fourth quarter, I'm like, look at this lineup we got out here. This is unbelievable. Like
you just get to be a part of it, which is crazy too.
Yeah. It was fun to watch.
Steph in both games, but really when it's at the end of the France game where he's going nuts. You've been on. We talked about before. You've been on both sides of this now, which is pretty rare, I would say. how would you describe that feeling in the moment as a teammate? Having had to face it in the highest stage of the NBA.
Yeah, it's much better to be on the same side when he was going like that. But I think like especially like early on, he wasn't making shots like he normally does, so you kind of knew that it was eventually gonna explode. And just those last 4 shots, like the first 2 were just like good offense, and he just was able to knock it down. And then after that, it's just special to watch it. I mean, you can see like the bench reaction when he's shooting them. We're all just losing our mind. Like, I think that was the cool part. It was just like we compete against each other at a high level the whole year, but now like just that mutual respect that what we're watching is special. This is all time. This is one of the best players ever in touch of basketball, and just to be part of a team like that, it was cool.
I was gonna say, is there something with him in particular in the way that, I mean, we talked about this before, and I feel like this has been a thing with him his whole career, but just the way he plays and the theatrics of it, and he's just the showmanness quality of it. So it's not just the numbers. It's like you have to see it as like you're watching a thing in real time where you're like, whether you're watching on TV or you're in the game with him, where you're like, because you can see the faces of everybody from Bron and KD on down of being like, they're going like what the fuck? Like, what do we do when he's going crazy like that? And so is there a showman quality to that is just like, it's hard to believe even while it's happening?
Yeah. I just think like Steph hits a couple threes in a row, and it's kind of like the other team kind of just forgets how to play basketball a little bit. Like I was like joking around. I was like, Steph hit that last 3 and he's just running around in circles, not even playing defense. And like they get a wide open 3 and it doesn't seem like the makes on that is definitely a lower percentage. I feel like for some reason, I don't know what it is, but just the way he carries himself. I mean, just the consistency from day in and the work he puts in. And then like in the big stage, the big moments, like he wants the ball, he wants that challenge, and he definitely rises to the occasion.
This year, we talked about this a little bit, but you guys, you come into the year as like overwhelming finals favorites, playoff favorites, whatever you want to call it, defending champs, and yet you all have you're talking about the chip on your shoulder. You all have a chip on your shoulder in your own different way. Does that feel weird at all for that to be the case? I know this is how you guys are just sort of personally wired as is, but it definitely is a unique situation. I feel like we were talking about the home opener where you guys cruise to a championship and yet everybody on the team is fucking pissed and is like, I want more.
Yeah, I mean, I think every year someone's looking for a little motivating and something that can motivate them for the next year. And sometimes you have to look harder than others. And for us, like, I don't think it was too difficult for us to find stuff to motivate us to want to get better, to want to improve and do something special again. So, I mean, obviously the first game, Joe was talking about, he's like, it'd be easy for us to like just enjoy the moment and go out there and not win. And like, it's ring night, like we'll get over it. But just to have that mindset of like, we're going to come out, and obviously we shot it extremely well, and it was a lot of fun. But just we've all had that mindset from the beginning, is we just don't want to skip any steps, and that's what made last year so special. And so we have that same mindset, but I think individually everybody kind of has a chip on their shoulder again and want to prove to somebody out there that who we are.
There's been a lot of, I feel like, national conversation about 3-point shooting. And you guys are, you're obviously at this point, you're averaging 51 per game. And it feels like everyone is just trying to catch up and copy you. What do you think about even like the discussion around it?
I think it's weird, especially because I feel like people just think we just dribble down and launch threes, which, I mean, sometimes we take some questionable or difficult ones, but I think the majority of our threes are off of good offense and stuff that, like, we driving, we kicking, we make an extra pass, we're creating that advantage. And so, and then we have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball at a high level. And so if you get the looks that we get, and from the people that we got shooting them, I think any team would take those. And so, I mean, I don't really look at the number or what people have to say. I just think, like, as as long as we're making the right read, we making the right play every time down the court, then I like our chances of just making shots at a high level, and most of the time they're threes.
You mentioned, Peyton before. We're going to hopefully do some stuff with him on this show. He's been lights out all year. Sam's been great. The whole bench has been great because you guys aren't obviously healthy yet. Is there anything about these guys, this sort of the group of we know how good the stars are, but the group of the reserves on this team that that you feel like is still like not undervalued at this point, but I feel like there's still more to come for what you're going to see from them?
Payne's a dog. Like, I think everybody sees that. Everybody competes against him. They know that he's going to compete at a high level. And I think just the comfort level, I think all of us is pretty comfortable. We've played on the same team for 4 or 5 years, like the same roster pretty much coming back from a championship. So everybody's comfortable in their role. Everybody knows like where they fit in, and like we just empower everybody to do what they do at best. And so Payne comes in the game, like we want him to be great. And he's been unbelievable this year. And then like when Sam comes in the game, like how can like when we get Sam as many shots as possible, and like Luke's came in and just stepped up big for us. And then we got Neem, we got X. Like you just go down the list of our guys that just whoever it is, they come in and they just do what we need them to do. And we feel like we don't really drop off if we have guys out. And like we have a high standard for everybody. And when they sub in the game, like that standard doesn't change, whether people are hurt or not. And so it's daily and consistent from their work. And it's cool to see them shine when they got their opportunity.
You've talked about over the last couple of years, you've talked a lot about like creating plays and just doing that in, your own way, whether that's sort of like offensively or defensively. I'm curious with just both things like that. And then also just with closeouts in particular for even like the, people watching this at home and everything like that, your advice for plays like that are not necessarily that maybe more like instinctual than it is, schematic, something where it's like you do this, like how do you get better at that?
I think just any chance you can get your basketball IQ, you want to raise it as high as you can, like just being in the right position, knowing where that position is supposed to be. And a lot of guys want to, like, you want to score, like just be in the right spot and the ball will find you, whether you sprint to the corner, whether it's on defense, like you know the personnel. Just little things like that, which will help you not make mistakes. I think like everybody turns on the TV and they want to get in your bag and they want to do 8 different dribble moves to a fadeaway, and like, yeah, that's cool to watch and that's special, but I don't think that's really what wins games in. I think I learned in San Antonio, simple works. So that's kind of my mindset. Like, what's the easy play? What's the right play? And just kind of consistently doing that over a course of time will lead to a lot of good things.
Is that something? The simple works thing is really interesting. Is that something you will also pick up from opponents? Like just watching, even when you were coming into the league, where you will watch small things that guys would do, and you just would sort of store it in the back of your mind of like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think a big thing my rookie year was watching Manu offensively and then watching Danny Green defensively. I think I just picked up a lot from those two in particular. Obviously the same position as me. But Manu was 40 at the end of his career. That was the last year of his career. And just the way he was able to get to the basket. Like everybody always talks about the Euro step and stuff, but there were just so many little things he did just to get in that position. Just catching the ball on the run or setting up your defender, and just the little things that he did. Like he didn't have the same explosive that he had when he was first in the league, but he was still extremely effective at just doing simple stuff. And then obviously he had his flair and everything after that, but the simple is what really worked. And then like Danny Green defensively, like when he sprinted back in transition, like he didn't just give up a layup. Like he could easily just run them through, like, oh, they got a layup, we take it out. But always contesting shots, always making them think about it. I think that's kind of an underrated thing, is just contesting shots.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, there was a specific play I didn't ask you about the other night. I was meaning to ask you about, and it was in the Bucks game where it was in the middle, like second quarter or something like that, and you basically, sure you've had to do this a lot, but I just saw it online. I was like sort of encapsulated what you do defensively, where you had to guard Giannis and Dame basically on the same play, and they missed they missed the shot. But that mentality basically of being like, okay, these are diametrically physically different players, but my fundamentals are the same. And so basically the approach is going to be the same. Is that sort of a good example of like what you're talking about it doesn't really matter who's there if the fundamentals are the same?
Yeah. I think my first couple years, I used to get like up and down whether they made a shot or not. And then DeMar DeRozan was like, why you keep doing that? Like, these guys are good. Like, they get paid to do this. And so just being consistently contesting the shots, chasing challenge, making them shoot over you, not letting them get to where they want to get to. Like, everybody has like certain shots that they like to do. So how can we kind of take that away? And so just understand the personnel. And then obviously Dame and Giannis, for that example, are unbelievable in their own right. And so just trying to change your mindset from you're guarding Dame and then he passes to Giannis. Now you can switch on to Giannis. Like, how can you switch your mindset to like, what am I supposed to do here? How can I make this a difficult shot for him and try to help us get a stop?
We asked this to President Obama, and so I think it's a good thing to ask the people on the show, and we'll ask it to more people when they come on as well. I'm curious, like your league pass teams and guys right now, people you just are, either you've played against them already or you're interested to see what they're going to go. But I feel like instinctually, you usually have a pretty good sense on who's next. And I'm wondering if there's anyone in the back of your mind who you're like, they're coming.
Teams that just look like they're having fun out there.
A
like
team
Orlando.
or player. It could just be like, this is who's a Derrick in San Antonio. You know what I mean? Who's somebody you're like, this person, everyone in our locker room knows it. But if anything, it's almost good that they're not a star because they're somebody who it will be in this place in 2 years, but you can kind of like stamp them now as like, this is the person to watch.
I mean, I like guys that have just gotten better every year. I think Jalen Suggs, I think I just said Orlando, but Jalen Suggs has gotten better every year and he's got off to a great start this year. And so just guys that, whether you get drafted high, drafted low, like as soon as you get into this league, like it doesn't really matter. Just guys that continually improve, find different ways to help team win. I think those guys are the ones that I tend to side with. I think guys that are more like me, I guess. And then I think OKC's been fun to watch this year. Just guys that are competing at a high level on both sides of the ball. Just want to win.
They lock up.
Yeah, they're playing at a high level right now. Cleveland as well. So like, it's fun to watch good basketball. Just people making the right read, making the right pass, guarding, and I think you want to be a good team in this league. Like you got to do that at a consistent level, and I think it's really early on right now, and see how like a lot of teams start off hot, but like I think teams like that will be around for a while.
All right, that concludes. We need a name for Derrick's episodes. To give context, we're going to figure these out throughout the year. We're basically going to do whatever he wants and whatever Brian wants. So we don't know how many of them we're going to do, but we're going to try some different stuff. And you'll be seeing check-ins from him on the show. Mr. White, thank you for joining us. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a little adjustment, but
we'll figure it out. It's going to be an experience. We're going to surprise people, I think.
For sure.